Oh, I will watch this. Oh, man. I cannot fucking believe it. But this girl is actually back. Yep. She's fucking back. And trying to explain why, well, I'll just play it.
Hawk Tuah girl's back with a released podcast that was immediately disavowed by nearly everyone in it, who said, oh, we think there might have been insider trading involved.
The podcast was not supposed to go live. They f***ed it up every step of the way. They leaked the podcast, and then they f***ing posted it when it was supposed to be canceled. They f***ed it up twice, and the third f*** was the launch itself.
Accusations flying. The episode got deleted, but it's still out there in the ether now with everyone nitpicking it apart.
Yeah, everybody sees it
It's kind of a complete disaster for the Hawk Tuah team. And I found even more kind of wrong with it. I want to go through it because, yes, we do get mentioned in it.
I bet
sort
they
of
do.
as the boogeyman of crypto. We're going to get you if you rug a coin.
Oh,
you know, we might
God.
come after you.
CoffeeZilla got on there. Scary guy, let me tell you. Don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
Whoa. Don't ever want to have a conversation with me. Guys, I'm not intimidating. I don't know what's the problem here. I'm Joe Rogan inches tall, guys. It's not a striking figure here you're going to be scared of. If you meet me in person, you're not going to be like, you know. Relax. It's fine. Just get on the call. Let's have a conversation. I don't understand. And I also thought this was weird because Haley Welch's lawyer invited me on the show. In fact, like, really, really wanted me on their show. And kept telling me how much Haley Welch liked me. Hence the t-shirt, you know.
He probably
I used
just
to like
lying.
CoffeeZilla until he wouldn't come on my podcast.
Yeah.
Then he is, you know, Voldemort, and we can't mention him.
Of course.
Scary. Watch out. Don't talk about CoffeeZilla. He's intimidating. Here's the message I got from her lawyer. Haley would like to have you on as a guest on her podcast. You'd be the first guest since the failed crypto token launch and would get significant amount of views, would be very friendly. This guy must not know me. She really likes you. Wow. I thought she didn't want to have a conversation with me. What gives?
So they invited him on to the podcast. Wait a minute. Why would they even do that? That's the dumbest thing you could possibly do.
What happened? In only
Why?
a few weeks, you know, I turned into...
They wanted to beat him up?
You know, the most scary man in the world. Now, I did not...
I'll just...
I said, look, I'm not a fan of what she did with Hawk. I have so many questions. You know, I need details. And then this guy says, I understand your position. I think the more details come to light, you'll understand she was a victim. And
I love how these people love to abstract the fact that they're just scamming people with fake money into this really complex, unravelable fucking tapestry of narratives and realities that are interwoven that you can't even possibly fathom unless you somehow end up agreeing with them. Like, it's just so ridiculous. Am I crazy for seeing this? Like, every time that there's like all these details and all this information, how is there any information we need to know about this? It's so fucking simple. It's crazy.
She does care about her fans and others that have lost money tremendously and is cooperating with all authorities, as well as Berwick Law Group. This has all been very traumatic for her. And basically, come on the show, please. You are the podcast's top.
Please let us know your top priority for first episode. I think that they absolutely invited him on so they can make him seem like he's okay with her, like she's in the clear and everything's okay. I think that's 100% what they were trying to do.
Priority for the first episode in 2025, guys. Me, the boogeyman, I was honored, to be honest. I was like, wow, I could be on the Talk Tuah show.
Yeah.
But, of course, I don't want to rehab someone's image who scammed people.
Yeah, of
and
course.
I really felt that questions had not been answered that should have been answered, such as, what was the agreement with Haley Welch and with Doc Hollywood? Very simple question, right?
Here's a question. How does making a meme coin help your audience? It doesn't. What's fun about losing money? Nothing. Are most people that are going to put money into Hawk Tuah coin going to be better off or worse off? These are the questions that need to be asked.
Basically, Haley Welch's position is, oh, I was a victim. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yes.
I didn't know how much. I was barely going to make money. 125K plus like, half of 10% of the tokens locked for a year. Like this terrible deal. I got taken advantage of by these monsters. Like that was kind of their position. And all I wanted to know was, give me the contract. Show me.
I think, exactly, right? Yeah, that's the fucking thing. It's like it's easy to say this whenever we're not actually looking at it because they're the ones explaining it to you.
That is true. And unfortunately, they were not able to give it. He's not in a position to share it, he says.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I said, can't verify anything you say then. Even what you told me about the 50% split. Which I had heard.
Yeah, so, and then he said, if you go on the podcast, we'll show it to you? Wait, so let me get this straight. They're only able to disclose confidential legal information if you go on a podcast? Which statute of limitations decides that? Oh, that's
Hawk
right.
Tuah was going to make 50%
What a bunch of dick
all the
suckers.
profits. And he kind of told me, no, that's just
Are you
applies to
kidding
the
me?
tokens. So I was like, oh, well, maybe she's less of a stakeholder in this than I thought. I don't know. I even pinned a comment on it, which we'll talk
What
about.
a
I said,
rat.
no idea if that's real. He says, come tape the podcast and I'll let you read it.
Yeah.
I thought this was really skeevy. I thought that's weird.
No, it's not weird. You're basically doing quid pro quo. You're saying, if you come on our side, we'll let you know what happened before the fact. So it's like, we want you to write a blank check to come on the podcast, and after you give us that blank check, then we'll tell you how much the check is worth. It's just so obviously manipulative. It's unbelievable. We want to make money in you and we'll let you in. Yeah, exactly. Like, this is crazy. Because, and again, he made the argument that the legal team doesn't want the contract shared. So what's the logic? So now he's already communicated with the legal team that it's okay to share the contract if you went on the podcast. I'm going to be honest. Right there, right off the bat, total fucking scam, absolute scumbag. It's not even a question.
Not even like let me post it, but just
local drug dealers have more integrity than this. Really. It's embarrassing. This is $1 million operation and you can't, like, this is pathetic.
read it. That's super weird. And in general, I find that in these situations, going on people's podcasts where I've reported on them, they are highly likely to do sketchy editing, to try to kind of control the situation so they look as good as possible, obviously. But I'm just not I don't think that ever makes sense. Like for me, reporting on a scam to then like go on their podcast. It's
weird. It's weird, and it's going to appear as if you have reconciled with them to a large amount of their audience that is stupid. Now, how do they know their audience is stupid? Well, because they put out a meme coin. If you make a meme coin, you're basically saying, hey guys, you're dumb.
So I say no. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, they bring FaZe Banks on because FaZe Banks is like the closest thing to doing what I did as well on the live stream. He also confronted Doc Hollywood.
Sure.
And so he was sort of one of the people that broke the news. So I thought, okay, that's a pretty natural guy to bring on your podcast. Now,
naturally,
FaZe Banks reached out to me and said, hey, I'm probably going to do this podcast. Do you have any questions that you'd like to get answers to? I said, yes, I do.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see that contract. Now, spoiler alert, FaZe Banks didn't get to see it either. They didn't get
the mysterious contract.
show it. But he also told me, look, we're going to tell everyone, do not talk about this show. It doesn't work if you talk about it because people are going to front run the coin. That's sort of how you guys got into this mess. This would be a disaster if you do that. So Our only stipulation, these guys are very positive about crypto, much more like they kind of wanted to like rehab her image basically in the crypto space.
Well, they wanted to rehab her image in general because she's on their payroll and they get a kickback from the money that they make with her podcast. It's in their financial best interest for her to look good.
So it's like a dream get
sense.
for Haley Welch. Like, this is amazing for her. And because Chase Banks is basically going to, like, make it be like, oh, well, you didn't really mean to do that, right? But, you know, he's going to ask some questions, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, turns out that didn't go so well. Because when this podcast went live, I thought maybe things went well. Turns out it didn't. Because Banks released this. He said, I agreed to do her first podcast back. I had heavy stipulations of not letting the market get manipulated. I think that's basic.
Yeah.
Her team finding a real solution regarding the money she made. Those were non-starters. These people leaked or insider.
These incompetent fucking retards. Excuse me.
Traded the token. We noticed a random spike in volume on the coin the day we did the podcast, along with random messages asking if we did the podcast.
Wait, so they didn't make enough money with the first one, so now they're trying to get this guy to come on to rehab her image so they can dupe people with it again? They're trying to go for the double dip? Oh my god. This is crazy.
So are you guys getting this?
The double rug, yes. Whoever does that. Have we ever had someone who's done a double rug? It's almost impressive of how fucking scummy it is.
Somebody front ran the podcast to buy up all the coins.
That's true. Trump. Because he did Trump coin and Melania coin. That's, yes.
Because they knew, ooh, everyone's going to like it when they release this podcast. Let's front run the coin, which is just horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what do you want to re-victimize people?
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do.
They call off the pod. They're like, look, even the people most charitable towards Hawk Tuah say, we're out. We're done. But today, the episode got leaked. Apparently, there was an agreement. The podcast is never going out, but today it got leaked. I say that because some of the accompanying...
You just don't want to get sued again. That's why you're saying it, because you already got sued by Logan Paul, and you don't want to deal with two lawsuits at the same time. I understand it. Now, if I was going to flip a coin, what would be the probability that it lands on the side that says that they leaked it on purpose? I would go at about 90%. I'd assume about 90%. Now, maybe not. But usually when coincidence and personal interests converge, it's not a coincidence. And especially when lightning strikes twice, like with this.
Clips that got clipped seem to be good for Haley Welch.
Yeah.
Like where she cries, about the rug pull. And people were saying maybe they kind of felt bad for her, right? From this leaked show.
Oh,
Here's
shit.
Dexerto saying Haley Welch broke down tears while talking about the alleged rug pull of her.
I want to start by saying thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry. Don't cry. Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good.
No, you're not.
That's right, bitch. You a scammer.
FaZe Banks canceled the episode.
And yes, he was like, this is too much. Because he probably wanted to come on and he's like, okay, I'll do this, but I want to ask you the right questions and everything. Like, he's not as into it as CoffeeZilla. He says, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. And then they want to take his rep and then drag it into this bullshit so they can double dip on scamming these retards. Can you believe this? Well, yeah, but it's still funny.
happen. Are you guys getting that? He was like, I
Even
can't be a part of this. And they posted the clip. I can't believe it.
No,
That's
he's not going to watch the whole thing. I want to watch the whole thing.
Do y'all understand how insane that is?
How this idea got brought to me, it was supposed to be like what do they call it, a long-term coin. And the guy that ran the account, he was like, "Oh, we're gonna change like the way everybody thinks of crypto.
We're gonna change the way everybody thinks of crypto with the Hawk Tuah coin." Why is it that every single person, like, who's more delusional, crypto enthusiasts or Reddit revolutionaries? I think this is basically a race to the fucking bottom. It's crazy how bad this is. Oh my god. Oh, it's the same person.
And I feel really bad for all the people that got affected by it, and it just didn't go the way I planned.
That's right, guys.
Yeah, of course you didn't plan on it being bad. I'm going to watch the whole thing. All right, let's watch it. Here we go.
I want to start by saying thank you to all my true fans and all the people that actually watch my stuff and they keep up with me. We're trying to sort out all the pieces and stuff to like get all this figured out and make everything right. Oh my god, I'm gonna cry.
No, don't cry. Don't cry.
Make everything right.
Don't cry. Everything's gonna be good. We're gonna be good. And guys, listen, just as a temperature check, I just want to say, the first thing that she said to me off camera was, the minute you DM'd me, I really wish I just texted you and called you. And that speaks to me because of how I was introduced to crypto, and we'll get into that. But I'm also kind of on the back end of things too, like
99% of cryptocurrency is a scam, and that's a lie because it's more than that.
Like, their team's been very forthcoming. My team is vetting them the fuck out right now and has been for the last week. Thread Guy and Frank, they're going to be on this episode. It's such a weird blend and mash of worlds. No, don't.
It rolled out.
Don't cry, Haley. It's fine. It's all going to.
Here's how you know that that's true. It's because I was really interested in cryptocurrency whenever I was like 21, 22. I wouldn't have been interested in it if it wasn't a scam.
Be okay. Life is going to be okay. Oh, Haley, no.
Oh, don't do that. Don't stare at me.
No.
You just
You're adorable.
Just give us a minute.
Okay. It's going to be okay.
Well, so basically how this idea got brought to me, it was supposed to be like what do they call it, a long-term coin. And the guy that ran the account, he was like, "Oh, we're going to change like the way everybody thinks of crypto. Crypto is going to be a good place." And I feel really bad for all the people that got affected by it, and it just didn't go the way I planned. And all the money out of this episode is getting donated to all the animals that have been affected by the fires up here.
And I'll match it. Me, Ricky, I'll match it, whatever. It's really, really important for me to make sure that we address everything and get through all of exactly what happened. I think that it's really, really important at this point to be totally transparent about everything that happened with you and your partners and this launch and in crypto, and what makes this bad and what makes what Iggy Azalea is doing maybe even good, and what makes Trump's doing different, right? I want to get through all that.
This reminds me a lot of, a lot of like Nigerian prince scams, they intentionally use bad English in order to only attract the dumbest of the dumb, because they know that a normal person with average comprehension will be able to tell that it's a scam. So like maybe this is the same thing where it's just like so obviously disingenuous and stupid that you basically have it act as a filter to only bring in the most fucking room temperature IQ people to immediately buy into it. You see what I'm saying? It's kind of like the stupidity of it is a filter in itself to make sure that you only are dealing with people that are of that same level of thinking. I wanted to watch the clip just because I haven't seen it. I wanted to see it.
Haley Welch is very sorry. She wants you to know she did not intend it to go that way. And that podcast clip, yes, it wasn't supposed to go out, but it just leaked. We don't know how. I approached, of course, the guys behind it, and they said it was an editor mistake. Oh, oops. Yes, the guys who interviewed us thought we may have insider traded the coin, but this guy says he vouches for the internal team, saying it was none of them. And Better, which is Jake Paul's team, I guess, no way they would ever do something like that, guys.
This is so fucking ridiculous. How do people eat this shit up? Honestly, I don't even... You know what? W. Jake Paul, W. Haley Watt. They deserve it. If you're this fucking stupid...
Believe us, we will
Holy
likely never
shit.
know the info leak. The clip posting leak today was an accidental by Better's editor who had the episode in the YouTube queue waiting on approvals to release.
Right.
Now, I don't know if this is true
Right.
or false. I thought the weird thing about this video is that, like, everyone has had, anyone in media who's, like, had a sensitive episode recorded, you don't, like, do all the work if you think it might get canned. Like, obviously, right?
Yeah.
These people not only edited the show, they put an ad in the leaked version of the episode, okay?
This guy brings up an incredibly good point. That is a great point.
So I'm not saying it didn't leak. I'm saying it's highly convenient.
This started. Game Time believes in me, y'all, and I believe in them.
Game Time's more loyal than most of y'all's mans out here.
Yeah, some of those guys just leave
Let
it.
me guess what game time is. Game time is sports betting, right? Last minute. Game time picks. It's not betting. Wait a minute. It's not. Ho up. It's ticket sales. Wait. It's just buying tickets. Okay. All right. Wow. All right. Who could have foreseen? Honestly, not me. I assumed it was a scam.
The first opportunity they get. Not Game Time.
Not Game Time, guys. Game Time wouldn't leak an episode on you. So that's just the start of this atrocious episode.
Yeah.
But now that it's out, I did take a look at it, and it made me think twice about something that I've been trying to get to the bottom of for a while, which is that contract. The contract I keep asking about. Who was supposed to make the money, right? That's always the question in a case like this. That's what the boogeyman wants to know. I got to know who to scare. I got to
Where'd the money go?
know whose bed to get under to scare them at night.
Right.
And I've been repeatedly asking this, and as I've said, basically their position is that she was just the small fry. She was the dupe. She was the person who got tricked into promoting this thing, right? This scam. But there was a certain thing she said that confused me, because I've heard two things. I've heard Haley Welch is getting half of everything, which is she's not the mark. She's like one of the main players. Or two, she's basically getting $125K and nothing else. Well, I heard this during the show, and it made me think, interesting.
Like half the money, it was supposed to go like into my charity. That's really why I agreed to do it.
Did you hear that?
Like half the money.
Half the money. Now, that's very interesting. That's very different from what we've been told, which is like, oh, it's just $125K. I don't know if the part about the charity is true, that it was all supposed to go to charity. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Again, that's why
I think it's just emotional messaging to make themselves look good. That's what I think. I just like that's what I
keep
think.
asking about the contract. Now,
Yeah.
I went to their lawyer, and I was like, look, I don't understand the secrecy with the contract. You could settle this so easily. This guy says, I'm on a phone call. Then he says something he's been saying the whole time. As I've said, the 50% of net proceeds, that's apparently what she's talking about, half the money, was from the mutually agreed upon allocation of tokens. 10% locked for 1 year with a 3-year vest thereafter. Memetic, which is Doc Hollywood, was to get the other 50% of the 10%. So not 50%, only like 5%, 1 year locked up. That's a terrible deal if you guys don't know that. And then he says her intention was to give her side to charity. We never got far enough down the road to make those questions. With regard to not sharing the contract, we can't, blah, 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 blah. We're in a legal situation. Now, this is where I finally had to play some of the cards that I had kept close to the chest up till now. See, I've been talking behind the scenes. I've been doing
50% of the 10% from the last 30%. Yeah. So I don't understand. It is a shock to me that this kind of stuff works. Because, like, I can't see how anybody would, like, how, there's just nothing, it defies all logic and reason. Everything about this doesn't make sense. I don't understand. How do you
digging, right? And I got a very interesting insider document that a lot of people don't know about.
Ooh.
This is from Doc Hollywood himself, which, if you remember, is like the key guy. Here he is saying, we'll do best to make it as simple as possible. The pre-sale raise is 50-50 Project Haley. Fees for market making and LP is split between us and Haley.
So she's getting 50%.
Now that's a very, very different story than I've been told up until this point. It wasn't 50-50 pre-sale. Like, that's millions of dollars pre-sale.
Am I the only person that, like, basically I just kind of, like, if you take a knife to this and you just cut out everything else and all the other bullshit, how is this ever going to be beneficial to anyone in this audience? Really? How is this anything other than a scam? Where was the universe that it wasn't going to be a scam? It doesn't exist. Right? Yeah, it's like, how do you even come to the, how do these things keep happening? It's just like, I have a lot. I'll talk about it after the video, but I have so much to say about this.
The fees were millions of dollars, okay? Or like $1 million. And that's what I say. Story's very different. This guy says, I think you can safely distrust anything coming from Doc Hollywood's mouth. He's denying it. He's saying, that's not true. And then he says, look, I just can't have the contract published online, willing to let you see it with your own eyes, and saying that's why he was going to let me see it on the podcast. I said, well, these messages were prior to the failure of Hawk Tuah coin. So I don't understand.
No, that doesn't make any sense, because if the legal team didn't want you distributing it, that would mean that certain people are not allowed to see it. So that's totally different. And also, like, if he's talking to you about it, like, there's plenty of ways that you can record things in person too. It's an NDA. Yeah, that's NDA.
Why would Doc lie? Like, this isn't him saying it to cover himself later. It's him, like, talking in a chat with other insiders back then.
Yeah.
So, once again, Christian denies it. He goes, he's not bright.
He's stupid. Okay.
I said, I don't understand your position. You want me to not trust internal messages from before the launch and trust you, who refuses to produce evidence? This guy says, look, I can tell you what I think, but I don't have any way of proving this.
Okay.
I then say, you said on the podcast you negotiated the contract personally.
I negotiated the contract with the company.
I don't get why Haley would benefit.
I just don't see how anybody buys into this. Anybody ever spent money on this. This was even a conversation in the first place. How is it even possible that this happened? Like, how is this a norm in the first place? It's just so shocking to me. I can't believe it.
From such a bad contract if what you said is true. And this is really how I feel. Half of 10% of tokens plus 125K makes 0 sense for someone who's bringing
the targeted first-time
all
buyers
of the name recognition. Like, you're bringing the whole thing, and you're getting this, like, measly piece of the pie?
Yeah.
It doesn't check out. Like, 125K is a lot of money, but they made like $4 million. So then he says
that's a lot of money.
The contract says she was paid 125K on signing, 200K within 30 days of launch. Interesting. We didn't know that.
Wow.
And 50% of the net proceeds of the project with mutually agreed upon tokenomics.
This is what he says the contract says.
Tokenomics we agreed to were for half of the 10% of the tokens. Now, I want you guys to realize that what he just said is backtracking on what he's been saying the entire time, which he's been saying the entire time, oh, it's just 50% of the 10%. 50% of the tiny amount of tokenomics we're getting.
Yeah.
No. What he's saying here, finally, he's giving us the real story. It's 50% of the net proceeds.
Who's this video for? It's for, I think that, like, I don't know how these crypto scams keep happening. Like, I just, like, it's so just abjectly, like, embarrassing that it just keeps happening over and over. And I think I know why it keeps happening, but it's just so ridiculous that I can't even wrap my head around it.
Project, period. That is completely different from what they've told me.
Yes.
And so I say 50% of the net proceeds does not mean half of 10%. It means 50% of net proceeds, which is market making, pre-sale. This is like $4 million that they talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if he's just trying to play dumb here, but he goes, we were told by Memetic that MM fees and pre-sale funds were going to be used to run the project. Guys, it was $4 million. You think it takes $4 million to run a meme coin? Or like 3.9 million? Sorry, it's like 3.9, I think. How are you getting that 50% only applies to 10% of the tokens? I'm baffled. You think they need $3 million to run a meme coin? 3 plus, 3.9 roughly. The dev team, by their own admission, said they had 4 guys. 4 guys do not need to split $4 million for.
Elon should hire CoffeeZilla to Doge. I feel like he'd be really in his element there. Yeah, I think this is perfect. Yeah, bring this guy in. He'd really be... He'd fit right in. I feel like this is perfect.
Ways, right? And so then they just kind of start doing this weird dance. And it got me like realizing like, yeah, they're just trying to get out of it. Like if you think for a second, they would have said, oh, we only want the 10% if this project succeeded. You're mistaken. They would have asked for the millions of dollars. Now they're saying it because that money's getting them in trouble, right? There's a lawsuit about that money. So they're saying, oh, we weren't entitled to that. No, that's not us. Christian Baker said, we didn't even know the amount of money raised from the pre-sale until launch. I say, yes, but you're entitled to that per the literal contract.
Oh my God.
Also, we were told Meteora was on a de-escalation schedule from 15% down to 1%, and that would happen one after launch. Obviously, that didn't happen. And he said, my understanding is that a large tranche of the pre-sale money was put in the LP. We didn't have the access to the dev. We don't know what wallets. We were also told pre-sale tokens would be on a 1-month lock, 1-year vest. That didn't happen either. And once again, this is where I have to play some of my cards. Because like I said, I've been investigating this. I'm being told, oh, we weren't going to make any money. I'm just trying to say, like, you guys aren't...
Is this old news? No, they came back. And this is new.
The victims. I hope you guys are understanding that this is kind of my feeling in all this. They're trying to be like, oh, we barely made a dime.
No, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to act like they didn't make any money off of it and they're victims in order to win back people's favor. That's clearly what the goal of this is.
And that's just not true. Like, that's not what they stood to make. I said, what do you mean? You told me I could disregard what Doc said. Remember, he said, oh, you can disregard it. But y'all literally had a contract for 50% of net proceeds. Doc himself said the project was going to cost a few $100,000. If that's the case, pre-sale $2.8 million, fees $1 million, made almost $4 million. Y'all are contractually owed like $1.6 million. And then I shared another insider text I have from Doc Hollywood, where he says, what we can do is put a hard number to the side for the project as cost. Like we spent a few $100,000 on the project already. That money will be paid back to us off top. Then the profit is paid out. If a few $100,000 is what it costs and the profit's paid out, who's the profit entitled to?
I wonder.
Hawk Tuah girl.
Yeah.
That's who it is. And we're all being gaslit about like, oh, I'm the victim. I stood to make no money. Wrong. You wanted to make no money after you realized the money
was a scam.
Like being scrutinized and being sued over and possibly being looked into by law enforcement. Like, we don't know. So this literally...
Just talk about knowledge. Stop acting like you know everything. Here's one thing I do know. Is that wealth is created by value. And a coin like this does not create any value. That means that it will not make any money. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't serve any purpose. It's just a big bank of money to for people to put money into. until one person takes the money out, and then everybody tries to take the money out as fast as they can. There's no benefit to this. There's no best case scenario to having a system like this be created. This is a pure parasitic thing. There is nothing good about this at all. Trading in a nutshell. That's not true. I understand that people, this is like a fucking midwit opinion. Oh, that's the same as trading stocks. No, your stock that is represented by the success of Microsoft fucking corporation and their products is not the same as your imaginary money that is backed up by nothing. Corporations have value because they create products that people find value in and they pay money for. That's the difference. If you think stocks and crypto are the same thing, I sure fucking hope you don't have any stocks.
Drives me crazy. And then he goes, where's this from, if you don't mind me asking? I say, well, it's an insider chat, allegedly between Doc and the team members. And then he says, you're right that as it stands, she may be entitled to whatever amounts. However, she was supposed to have mutual approval on tokenomics. Her not being given the opportunity to approve the transaction fees, SAFs, and pre-sale identities led to the end result. So literally, he's admitting that he's been not telling the truth about how much money they stood to make.
Of course not. Why? No,
You're
they're going
right.
to lie to
She
you.
may be entitled to millions of dollars from a scam. Like what? I can't believe they said this.
Yeah.
It's insane. So that was a huge revelation. We finally got that out of them. They've been saying this whole time. They even said it during the pod. This guy kind of did this whole thing of like the back end. Oh, the back end, it's only like 50% of 10% locked up for a year. And when the managers take their cut, it's like this tiny amount of money.
Back end, there was a 10% allocation.
I really hope that there's a legal case for this, because this is like the 20th time this has happened in the influencer space, and probably more than like 50th or 100th time. The 20th time I probably talked about it. There needs to be a level of accountability for this. There does. And I find it to be so problematic that it's been going on for so long with really no degree of accountability at all.
Of the token that would be on a 1-year lock and then a 3-year drip after that. Of that 10%, half of that was supposed to go to the company that created the project and half was to go to her. So out of 100% of the token, she would have had 5% at the end. Obviously, she has lawyer, manager, business manager, so even that 5% would have been cut down by over a quarter.
I just found this unbelievable. They're playing the victim. And that's kind of my problem with this whole thing. Look, I can believe a lot of plausible stories here. Now, I really don't believe anything they tell me at this point, but
No, I wouldn't either.
I could be convinced that this might be the case. Maybe it's the case that Hawk Tuah's team was under the impression that all these pre-sale investors were locked up for a month, right? That's what they told me. Again, I don't believe them necessarily, but it's plausible, right? I asked him, when did you learn that the insiders had 0 lockups? He says, when they started dumping. I was told all along the SAFs had a 1-month lock, 1-year linear vest thereafter. I can tell you what I think happened, but I don't have any way of proving it without seeing the SAFs. I have the SAFs, so I can tell you what happened. The pitch deck did say it was a 1-month lockup, okay? And then you get the SAFs, the actual token agreements with like the real investors. No lockup. That's how it all kind of went down, fellas. They lied and they deceived people with fake investment lockups. Like they gave a pitch deck.
Well, it's fake money in the first place. The entire thing is a deception. It's fundamentally fake. Everything about it's fake. That's why they're literally calling it a meme coin. I think that one of the reasons why they've tried to start using the term meme coin is to have legal, plausible deniability that it was ever considered a legitimate financial investment in the first place. I think the entire premise of this is just meant to displace accountability. This will not be addressed for years? No, you're right. And you guys are right. This won't happen for at least 4 years because of Trump's fucking coin. So we got
not
4
really
more years
what
of
the
this
pitch deck
shit.
ultimately turned out to be. Whether that was a last minute change, whether there's some great way to explain it, I don't think there is. But look, you can believe that, right? But Haley Welch's team this whole time has been acting like so unbelievably dishonest in how they're framing all this to try to make her look like as sympathetic as possible. Instead
They're
of
dishonest because they did it in the first place. Like, let's be honest. Like, the entire thing is dishonest. This is like somebody that robbed a bank and you're expecting them to tell you the truth.
admitting, actually, we did have some complicity in this. Maybe we should have asked more questions. We did stand to make way more money than we've let on in a lot of these interviews and with journalists. And we haven't been exactly forthcoming about that. So it makes it hard to be charitable, which kind of they're wanting you to be if we can't see these contracts, if we don't know what they knew, right, at the time when all this stuff happened. And it clearly was a scam because the pitch deck said one thing. They said it was a lockup. The SAFs said it wasn't a lockup. But
well, she probably didn't know because she's a girl. No, I said the same thing about Speed. Like, Speed promoted a crypto scam back in the day, and I said he didn't know anything about it either, right? Like, both things are true. The content creator who is promoting something like this should be held accountable for it. And also, Speed was, like, number one, like, almost underage at that point. And also, he immediately cut down and he stopped it as soon as he realized that it was problematic. So Speed, at, like, 17 years old, had more sense than this woman here at, like, I don't know how old she is, like 25. Insane that that even happened. But, like, it's crazy.
it's hard to be charitable, right? When this is kind of the way they're interfacing.
She's
even
40?
with the FaZe Banks
I don't think
crew,
she's 40.
who wanted to be charitable to her pretty explicitly.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, look, even when they talked about me, they're like, hey, it's not going to be that bad. We're not going to be like CoffeeZilla.
Yeah, scary guy. Let me tell you, don't ever want to have a conversation with him.
We're a little bit more charitable than Coffee. I think Coffee kind of has a little bit of disdain for crypto in general. Us, on the other hand, we live and breathe it every day. We want to see crypto succeed.
Even those guys who admit that they have like a bias towards being charitable, right? Maybe I have a bias for being scary. But even they don't want anything to do with her team because her team is leaking stuff, messing up, like all this stuff with supposed insider trading. Again, their team denies it. I got to be clear about that. But clearly somebody was trading on the information, which they shouldn't have, and then leaking the episode as an accident. So, yeah, I just wanted to cover this story, just explain how bad faith they've sort of been throughout this, some of the revelations we've learned since then, and also admit there's plenty we don't know that I hope will be revealed
Saying
in
you
this.
want crypto to succeed and then supporting meme coins is such a joke. Well, the thing is, like, crypto has succeeded in a lot of cases. How many of you guys have bought and sold something with, like, Ethereum or Bitcoin? Yeah, a lot of people have. Or Monero. Yeah, it's another big one.
Lawsuit, which is happening about this coin, fighting for this money, that clearly Haley Welch's team is like, oh, we don't want that anymore. We just want to, we want to say we're not entitled to any of that. And so I do hope in that lawsuit things actually come out and victims get their money back. But yeah, I just wanted to cover this story now that the Hawk truth is floating around on the interwebs. I wanted people to get a more clear, holistic picture of what actually happened, both on the screen and behind the scenes. Okay, see ya.
Wow. Wow, I can't believe it. The meme coin turned out to be a scam, and the people running the scam were stupid. Has this ever happened before? I think this might be the first time. We love CoffeeZilla. We do. There's his video. This is on his second channel. Make sure to give it a like and make sure you're subscribed. CoffeeZilla is one of the only people that, like, he knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, fucking obviously. That's why I'm watching his video. He's not watching mine about it. But the fact is that, it is astonishing to me that this is even a reality that people take seriously in the first place. And I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here. But I think that we have a massive problem of stupidity and narcissism and self-centered behavior that have coalesced into one thing, which is stupid people who don't understand math or anything about finances or anything about numbers in general that are getting involved in numbers, and they are just ruining their lives. I think that the two best examples of this are cryptocurrency for younger people, and for more middle-aged people, you have sports betting and just gambling in general. And so what you have is, I think that you've created a culture that has rewarded people and told people that you're a special snowflake, you're a good boy, everything you do is right, etc. And what that's caused people to do is it's caused people to believe that they are the one that's going to get lucky. They're the smart one. Because I think that the American dream is not to get rich and make a lot of money. It's to get rich and make a lot of money and think that you deserved it. The moral imperative of doing it, I think, is necessary for people to feel like they've done the right thing. And so when you see this all the time with and that's why sports betting is so pervasive and so popular. If you guys didn't know this, slots are not the most popular form of betting. Sports betting is the most popular form of betting because it gives people the illusion of control. And with the popularity of things like parlays, you've got a 9-leg parlay, big fucking surprise, it fell over. And so you've got these sports betting companies that are writing off the profits from this before the parlay even takes effect or it even plays itself out. It's so obvious that we have a huge problem of a culture of absolutely fucking uneducated, stupid narcissists that think that they're going to become rich by investing money into a meme coin for a girl that got famous for talking about how she likes to suck a dude's dick. The fact that we're even here is insane. Crazy, crazy, crazy fucking insane. How did this happen? I disagree with you. I made a 100K investment in trading meme coins. Everyone knows what they're getting into. It's simple trader PvP. What my point is that the people that are getting into it don't understand that. And the reason why they don't understand that, or they intentionally don't understand it, because they think that they're smart. And that's the important thing with crypto and sports betting, which is why it's so powerful. It's powerful because it basically takes advantage of a person's stupidity, and it makes them think that they can be the next one who was lucky. Because there are people that do eventually get lucky. Now, obviously, people that are smarter get lucky more often, but even stupid people get lucky sometimes. And so if you're investing and putting money into cryptocurrency coins knowing that they're scams, I'm not talking to you. I'm not discussing you. Obviously, you know what you're getting into. I would do maybe the same thing if I was bored. But the point that I'm making is the fact that there are some people who believe this and get involved in this in a general sense. And that's what's really scary and concerning to me. That's what the problem is. And I think this is what's getting so much more popular. And I think that these crypto coins and the advent of sports betting and the popularity of it is actually a second order effect of a society full of stupid, narcissistic, uneducated retards that can't do math. That's the truth. Because I ask myself when I see this, I think to myself, how is it possible that so many people can be so stupid? You only need one coin note? Yeah, exactly. They'd be mad if they could understand you. So should we banish them? No, but the thing is that, so there are two things that you might think are contradictory, but they're not. The first thing is that I don't feel sorry for them at all, and I view them as just simply being taken advantage of as victims of natural selection. I have literally zero sympathy for them, even in the slightest. I do not care about them. I think that, honestly, in a lot of cases, they deserve it because they're stupid. Trump interview in 10 minutes. Oh, is it really? Okay, that's good timing then. So that's number one. Number two, I think that the people that take advantage of them also should be held accountable. Basically, I don't feel bad for people that get scammed because I think they're stupid and they deserve it. But I also don't think that the people scamming them are good people. So I'm basically an asshole to everybody. That's it. What about Trump? I think Trump's meme coin was fucking retarded. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was stupid. Yeah, absolutely. I said that when it happened.